Good morning, everyone. I hope you're well. Today, I want to talk to you about co-regulation. Now, a lot of people, when they think of co-regulation, they think of a child and a parent, and that's not necessarily the case. There are lots of adults who co-regulate with other adults. And this is a process that we don't realize is actually affecting everything to do with our mental health, our physical health, and our emotional health. So, what exactly is co regulation? Well, it's the ability to soothe yourself, the ability to manage distressing situations, or just manage in life in general and not depend on other people or need the connection to other people in order to be able to do that. So, the easiest example I can give you of this is imagine that you have a big decision to make as an adult, and maybe you find yourself in a situation where you're like, every time I make a decision, I need to run this by someone. I need to get all my group of friends, and I need to run them by the scenario and see what they think and get everybody's opinion. Well, what's essentially happening is you are co-regulating with each and every one of those people. And so you're sharing their energetic field and you're sharing their opinions. And what tends to be tied to a bit of this co-regulation is self-worth, people pleasing, and lack of boundaries. Okay. Because when you think about it, a well-rounded adult that is, able to make their own decisions, you should be able to go through the process of the goods and the bads and the beneficials and the not beneficials of making a choice and be able to kind of listen to your internal compass and make a choice. But sometimes we fall into a pattern where we feel like we really need to create a sense of urgency with other people, and you're in crisis of everything that might go on. And understand that this isn't your fault. Okay. If you do this, this is something that has been brought up in you. This is something that is deep, deep rooted from back in your childhood. Okay. And sometimes it's even past that. Sometimes it's even a regular cycle that we've taken through another life altogether. Okay. So the reason I'm talking about all of this is because if we can understand that when we're co-regulating through someone else, we're actually pulling their energy and not actually listening to our own internal compass or our own truth or our own consciousness. And that sometimes what ends up happening in these situations is people tend to manipulate that situation, especially, you get into the wrong crowd or the wrong group of friends, and people maybe they are co-regulating on their own, and then therefore they manipulate a situation to be what's good for them. So as an example of this, let me give you an example. Let's say that you were watching somebody's child, and that's kind of what you're doing right now. You're kind of playing that nanny role, and you're kind of helping them out, and they're working. So like, I got nothing going on right now, so I'm gonna help you do this. And a great opportunity comes your way. Okay. And you get this interview and you get the job. Okay. And you get this job, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, like I think I'm going to take this job. Like, this is actually really cool. And then you start like reaching out to everybody going, I don't know if I should take this job. I'm not really sure what like. I have so many things going on. I need to figure out, how I'm going to get there. I need to figure out how I'm going to work around all this other stuff. And then I'm taking care of somebody else's child right now. So I need to figure that out too. But the person whose child you're taking care of, if they're not able to hold their own space and actually see what's in the highest good and the best interest for you, might be able to go, oh, I don't think you should take that job because I just think that you're better off and you can wait for something better. Or, that job just, it seems like it's not for you. It seems like it's a lot of responsibility, or that job is going to end up killing you because you're going to be working too much. Meanwhile, this story behind the scene is that person is manipulating them so that they don't make the correct decision that's good for them, because that would mean that they would have to find someone else to watch their children. Okay. And that's just an example of you being in a co-regulating situation and somebody is doing something that is manipulative. That is not the case all the time. Many, many times people just want what's best for you. right? Many, many times people have their own lensing and they can't help but include that in there, but just sometimes we end up having that. But what would it look like to stand on your own 2 feet? What would it look like to be able to make decisions and not need to run this by other people? What would it look like to be able to feel so solid in your being and who you are and who you identify with that you don't need to do that anymore? To not have to be in an emergency and be calling upon people all the time. Because what happens is you're pulling people's energy and other people are pulling your energy when they're doing that to you as well, right? And we don't realize that can be exhausting, right? That can be absolutely exhausting to think that not only do you have to like support everything that's going on in your own life, but you know that when Sally has an emergency, that she's going to be, calling you and everything is an emergency, every decision. I mean, there are people that are so far co-regulated that they might even need help with their food choices for the day. Like, this is not an exaggeration and it's not their fault, but this is how they've been brought up. And this is how it's kind of snowballed into this, right? But what would it be like to just be able to be in your own sovereignty? What would it be like to have boundaries? What would it be like to not need the external validation from other people to feel right, wrong, or good or bad? What would it be like to just know that internally and actually be able to fulfill your own self through your own self-regulation and soothe yourself and manage all of those things on your own? Wouldn't it feel great? Wouldn't that just feel independent? Wouldn't you feel free if you had to do that? If you had the opportunity to feel that way? So I'm running a masterclass on June 27th, which is a Tuesday evening at 7:30 p.m. in Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to be talking a lot about like co-regulation, about self-worth, setting boundaries, people pleasing, and understanding the effects that it has on the human body, the effects that it has on our emotional body, where some of our mental health things come from, where we get into that codependency, where we get into maybe a codependency on drugs or alcohol or coffee or whatever it is. We're going to be talking about how this can be absolutely exhausting to you or to the other people that might be around you experiencing this, right? Maybe you have someone in your life that does this and you just never realized what it was. And again, this is not about making them right or wrong. It's about how do you respect and put up your own boundaries for the highest good of you in order to make sure that you're protecting your own energy field. So if this is up your alley, if this speaks to you, I really hope to see you there. Again, June 27th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You must register for this event in order to find it. It is on my website at purplemoonhealing.com, and it is under events or workshops, and you can just go and register underneath there. It's completely free, and I really hope that you will come and partake in this and start the journey towards really becoming that sovereign being or standing in your own ground to help somebody else become their own sovereign being. I hope to see you soon.